Welcome back to Caffeine Confessionals. My name is Allan, and today we're going to be doing a shot-by-shot trailer breakdown of the Challenge OG All-Star season that is debuting April 1st on the Paramount Plus app. I wanted to put the video at the beginning of this video so you could watch it and then we could break it down, but the last time I did that, Viacom hit me with a copyright claim, and I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to have my video taken down again. If you just go onto YouTube and search up Challenge All-Stars trailer, it'll come up. Let's get to this breakdown, and I must note, there are no spoilers in this video besides those that we can see with our eyes. Basically, if it is implied and I can break it down by looking at it, it's not a spoiler. The trailer opens up pretty dramatically before we even hit the 3-second mark. There is a player jumping between beams that are across a moving semi-truck. From another vantage point, we can see that the player is holding a ball, and this is an intense daily challenge for a regular season, let alone an OG season. They follow this up with a dramatic shot of Anissa standing on top of the same semi-truck, probably getting ready to take her turn for the challenge. Honestly, I'm not happy that they show Anissa here because we see Anissa on a weekly basis. If anything, if you want to have an opening dramatic shot, put a challenger we haven't seen in a decade. There is a long TJ Lavin soundbite where he says, "We are here to prove who is the best of all time and that everyone here is an all-star," which is weird because I think people were expecting a chill carnival game type atmosphere and we are not getting that. Switching back to the footage, when TJ first mentions the word All-Stars, we definitely see some coming out of the RV. First up, we see Allan, one of the most physically dominant players in this show's history. Long before CT pulled off the backpack on Giant Bananas, Allan was dominating people in a similar fashion, except with a smile on his face. The guy also said he would not compete in a daily challenge with a Speedo on because he was hung like a horse. That's pretty legendary. Then we see Trishelle, who's been famous in the mainstream aside from the challenge, having appeared in Playboy, the Lingerie Football League, Steve O's own reality show back in 2007, Hulk Hogan's reality wrestling show, in a GoDaddy commercial alongside WWE superstar Candice Michelle, was in William Hung's music video, The Surreal Life. She's been in so much, and here she is on the Challenge All-Stars. We then get a shot of the man who pitched this series, the Godfather, Mark Long, still looking in great shape, followed up by a shot of Anissa. Good for you, Anissa. Get your paycheck. We then get daily challenge footage of players breaking big blocks of ice, which is a staple in both old school and new school seasons. I believe we see Allan, Anissa, Arissa, and Janae in this footage. We then get a quick glimpse at two OG challenge legends, the first being Arissa Hill, who made the final of her only season battle at Sexes 2, and then Ruthie, the OG challenge female GOAT, who was dominant on Battle of the Sexes 1. We get footage of what I believe is a trivia challenge as there are 3 women standing on a platform with life jackets and helmets looking super nervous. It is 2 Road Rules legends, Kendall and Katie, and then Jemmy. After the trivia challenge, we see footage of an underwater swimming challenge in which a player has to recover a box that is most likely a puzzle piece. We then see Darrell swimming above water, and then him with a large team, what is likely a team challenge similar to how they split up teams on Free Agents and Vendettas. His teammates that we could see for this challenge are Derek K, Mark Long, Cyrus, Allan, Ruthie, and Kellyanne. There's obviously some females missing in that equation, but that's what it looks like. We then get a full wide shot of the entire cast for this season. After the TJ soundbite, we get a scene with Cyrus Yarborough where he says, "I said no matter what, I am going back. This legacy must live on," which means one of 2 things to me. Either he's telling other cast members why he decided to do the season, or he's prepping himself to go into elimination. Regardless, it is surreal to see Cyrus on this season as he was considered an OG all the way back on the Gauntlet 1. A cool editing move by production is that they put a Beth confessional right after, saying "don't mess with me." Cyrus and Beth were known for being good friends on the show back in the day. There is more daily challenge footage. This time we see Jemmy dropping into the water, and then we see an image where it is 2 platforms with ropes stretched across them. I think the players have to use their upper body to navigate across the ropes from one platform to another. We've seen challenges like this in the past. Then again, in that second image, you can see a player falling into the water, and one of the ropes looks to have broken. I can't tell if it's a malfunction, or if the player did something wrong, or there's a sabotage element to this game. Maybe the player has to go into the water, swim, and then climb up the rope to the platform. Again, I'm not really sure. Maybe it's a malfunction. No matter what it is, my interest is immediately piqued because something just doesn't seem right here. We get a Tech Holmes confessional where he asks, "Did you miss me? Because I'm happy to be back." In all honesty, I never thought Tech would come back, so I didn't really ever miss him. But if I knew he was, I would have definitely missed him. He is a welcome surprise. Van Wilder is one of my favorite movies, and I'm just happy to see him on my TV again. After Tech's confessional, we get a shot of the players partying in the house, followed up by a soundbite of someone saying, "I want to know what it feels like to be a winner." And it kind of sounds like Derek Kosinski's voice, but Derek is a 3-time challenge champion. He knows what it's like to win, or maybe he's talking about in life. Maybe he's talking about wanting to feel like a winner again. Even though he kicked ass on Dirty 30 and Vendettas as a mercenary, it's been over a decade since he won a challenge championship. During the soundbite, we get various footage that includes players kayaking in a zoomed out image, then an image of a player who looks haggard after an elimination. I believe it is a headbanger elimination because the player has the same pads you would have for a pole wrestle / hall brawl, and based on the hair, I believe it is Ace Amerson. Ace would make sense for that soundbite since Ace never was a challenge champion. We then get footage of a player stepping onto a platform that breaks under his feet and the player falls into the water. It looks like a fun daily challenge if we're being honest. And then the kicker happens, MTV drops a graphic, and the twist is there's only going to be one winner this season, which at first I was opposed to, but then I thought about back in the old days, they would have like 8-10 people win a season of the challenge. So the fact that these OGs have to go through a format where only one person wins, I welcome the idea. Mark Long gives the ceremonial house toast where he says to everyone, "Let's show them how the OGs used to roll." After that, we see the elimination arena, which looks simple but beautiful at the same time. And then we get a shot of a surprised Beth and John A. And it's a great image because their 2 Real World seasons were 16 years apart. It shows you how long the Real World Road Rules Challenge universe has been alive. After this, we get a scene with Jemmye telling Ruthie that best friends don't even have each other's back in this game. They follow this up with footage of 2 of Jemmye's friends, Anissa and John A., who are on top of one another, on top of a block of ice, as they're getting pulled back and forth by Derek and Laterrian, almost like 2 lumberjacks trying to cut a giant piece of wood. This is also a reminiscent daily challenge from Battle of the Sexes 2, where players had to use their body to de-thaw a block of ice. Tanya infamously put rocks in her mouth, thinking that would help melt the ice faster. They drop a Beth soundbite saying, "I play a whole different type of game," and that hypes me up like crazy. Beth is one of the all-time reality villains, and whenever she's up to Beth things, I get excited. During the Beth soundbite, we get footage of 3 different things. The first is Katie Doyle being helped out of the water by Yes and Tech as she has a busted up lip. This reminds me of Cutthroat, where she broke her face falling into the water. After this, we see a scene of players holding a giant log together in what looks like a team daily challenge. I can make out Gisela, Darrell, and Kendall being there. And then we get a scene with Jemmye being spooned up by a man in what looks like the night after, a bit of a hookup. I believe she's hooking up with either Laterrian or Nehemiah. Darrell and Alton have significant others at home. That man is too small to be Cyrus and too big to be Tech. If it's Laterrian, that would be crazy because Laterrian's last season of the challenge was 16 seasons before Jemmye's debut season. Again, another reminder of how big the challenge universe is. Next, we get a different vantage point of the semi-truck challenge from the opening of the trailer, and based on this image, it looks a lot easier than it did in the opening. You then hear a soundbite of someone calling someone a liar, and then they show the footage of it, and it's Ruthie calling Anissa a liar. And Anissa is known for playing the middle, so it's not that surprising. I must note, Ruthie and Anissa do have history. All 4 seasons that Ruthie did all the way back in the day, Anissa was on them with her, so they do have a history, and now they're on TV together for the first time in over a decade. Based on the trailer, it looks like people are taking the game actually pretty seriously. Big Easy angrily tells someone, "This is my vote now, I'm talking," and they followed up with Kellyanne reacting to someone and their vote and saying, "Heartless." I don't know if she's reacting to Big Easy, but it could be someone else's, like maybe poor choice. A scene that catches my interest a ton is Gisela Delgado crying and saying, "It isn't over yet." But what isn't over yet? And I think it's one of 3 things. She's wearing a swimming top, which makes me believe, from most likely to least likely, most likely someone got injured and she's trying to say, "No, let's not quit, let's keep going, the game isn't over yet." Number 2, it is a swimming purge, similar to War of the Worlds 2, where they probably have to cut off players at the end, and she's maybe going to lose, and she's trying to, keep herself and her team motivated. Or number 3, it's actual footage of the final. And I don't think MTV would show us footage of the final right here in the trailer like this, but if they do, hats off to them because I'm on my toes for any of these options. They try to hide the Gisela Easter egg in the trailer by showing Laterrian being emotional in the next scene, but he could be sad at anything. He could have saw a really beautiful landscape and started crying. What Gisela said, now that had a little bit of juice to it. Also, in what is literally less than half a second, MTV shows a glimpse of an elimination where it looks like one player is getting powerbombed in a pole wrestle / handcuffs elimination. And when I slowed it down, I was able to see the name on the pants. Ace, you're getting your ass handed to you. Doesn't look good. Considering I thought it looked like Ace in the other image of the player who had been in elimination, this makes sense. Another one of my favorite scenes is Trishelle and Katie getting into an argument over something that happened 15 years ago. Katie yells at her to let it go, and it's just so funny because these two were roommates back in the day, and not like real world challenge roommates. They were real life Los Angeles roommates. Also, Kendall was their roommate as well, and she's on this season too. Then we get a scene of a cameraman dramatically chasing after a player, trying to capture footage, and it looks like the production side of the elimination arena. TJ tells someone, "Hope to see you never," which is what he says when someone quits the show. I really hope it's Beth, because man, when Beth quits, it's the most iconic thing ever. When other people quit, it's kind of lame, but when Beth quits, it's just the most villainry thing. Like, why does she keep coming on the show to quit? It's so funny. The last 3 scenes in the trailer consist of the following. The first scene being Mark Long and I believe Ruthie kayaking in the water. Now, because they're both strong players, my brain immediately thinks final. You can see another team kayaking behind them. Then you get a scene of Laterrian, who is hyping himself up during a race in the woods in what looks like the same setting as the players carrying the giant logs from earlier in the trailer. And the last scene is the same opening challenge with players jumping across beams on the semi-truck. And I take back my statement about it looking easier on one side, because you can tell that by the end of that challenge, it gets progressively harder, as that person's last jump looked really damn far. And that is your Challenge All-Stars trailer. The season debuts April 1st. I will be covering it in podcast form and in update videos like this. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you can, drop a like and subscribe on the channel. Drop a comment. It means a lot. Who are you most excited to see this season? I know I'm hyped to see my girl Kendall. I'm hyped to see Kellyanne. I'm hyped to see Alton. Love a lot of these cast members, and I'm just really stoked for this season. Have a great day.